Hi, this video is a short introduction to the risk factors for breast cancer. And the first thing you need to know about this is that, unlike other cancers, there is not just one single thing that causes breast cancer. It seems to be a combination of things that work together to make breast cancer happen. Even for women who carry one of these really high-risk genes like BRCA1, BRCA2, it's not just the gene. There are other things going on that help to trigger it. And those things, we can roughly divide them into three groups. There's genetic stuff, there's environmental things, and then there's lifestyle things. Now, in addition to the well-known genes that cause breast cancer in families where it's struck many times, so-called familial breast cancer, we've now discovered that there are little genes, little gene fragments that can increase your risk of breast cancer even if it's not in the family. And that's been a real breakthrough in recent years because we can now measure those little gene snips to see whether or not you as an individual carry a genetic underlying risk to getting breast cancer. Then the next group is the environmental group of causes. If you look at a country where breast cancer is relatively uncommon and then follow that country as it industrializes, the risk of breast cancer goes up. So that makes you think, maybe it's something to do with environmental pollution or perhaps exposure to industrial chemicals. But it's complicated because as a country industrializes, people's lifestyle also changes. And so we're not really sure yet what environmental factors are important, and that's still ongoing research. But the third group is important, and that's the lifestyle factors. And perhaps at the top of that list is Western diet. It's got too many calories and fat and sugar in it, and it's not good for you. And one of the things it can do is increase your risk of breast cancer. And then on top of that, we've got alcohol consumption, a really strong link between how much alcohol you drink and your risk of breast cancer. And then we have other lifestyle things like the pill and HRT, which can increase your risk a little. And then what you might call some hormonal things, actually things over which you've got no control. Such as the age of your first period, the age you had your first baby. Those sort of hormonal things all feed into the mix. And I guess the second thing to say about these multiple risk factors is that it's very useful for us here at Prevent Breast Cancer to discover what these things are for an individual person, because we can take them and build up a predictive model of who's at most risk. Now, most of these things, they only increase your risk a little bit, a little fraction. But if you have half a dozen of them, then actually it can be quite a substantial increase in your individual risk. And similarly, if you're somebody who, let's say, has a genetic risk of breast cancer, you can lower your risk by paying attention to some of these lifestyle factors. An easy one, for example, would be to get more exercise, switch to a Mediterranean-style diet, reduce your alcohol consumption. These sort of things can significantly lower your risk, and that's why at Prevent Breast Cancer we're so interested in them and why so much of our research is focused on these areas. So I hope you found that helpful.